is Yates, and I'm a student at Hocking College. I'm in the nursing program, and I'm taking currently a speech class where I need to do a demonstrative speech. So today I'm going to do my demonstrative speech on how to change a tire properly. Okay, so now I'm going to begin. Have you ever had a flat tire on the side of the road and wondered what you need to do? Do you know how to properly fix the tire in a situation that you don't really know exactly how to do it and you need to figure it out quickly? Well, I've been changing tires my whole life because my dad's an automotive technician, and he kind of shows me how to do things and trains me through work experience and just personally, so I know how to change my tires. So I think it's very important, and so does he, that everybody knows how to change a tire. So I think that everybody should know how to change a tire in any situation that they might come into, on the side of the road, at home, in the parking lot, at your job, anything like that. So the main points of changing a tire is to be prepared, is to then switch the tire, and then to clean up your mess after you're done. So the first part is to be prepared. It is very important to prepare and to be ready to change a tire in order to ensure that you don't miss anything that could be vital in making sure that the tire is properly applied to the vehicle. You should have everything laid out, including the jack of the lug wrench, the reflectors if you have them in order to reflect light to ensure that other cars see you, and also a tire pressure gauge if your car is equipped with one, or that you have one available in your glove box or in your emergency bag to make sure that your tire is properly fitted with air. And you should definitely go over the process in your head before you start, and go over the process, maybe even write it down on a piece of paper. That's also a great way to make sure that you have everything done, is to make a checklist. You should definitely be mentally prepared so that you can be more helpful and be better off when changing a tire. And this is due to many deaths actually occur for people who are not paying attention when they're changing a tire in traffic and on the side of the road. So you need to be aware of your surroundings and make sure that you're not walking out in front of cars, making sure that your car is off the side of the road enough so that way you can work, if you have to work on the side of the road where cars are passing, and to make sure that you're in the safe zone and that you're not going to get hit. The next step is to then switch the tire. So now I'm going to proceed in showing you how to remove a tire, apply the tire, and make sure that you properly have everything secured and well maintained in order to make sure that the tire is going to last you to when you get to your destination of getting your tire fixed. So now I'm going to begin. The first thing that you need to do is to remove the spare tire from the storage area. This is the spare tire right here, and I've already removed it from my storage area because it is very hard for me because mine is underneath the car down here where you have to twist it and twist it with this thing right here. You stick it in the spot and then you have to twist it off. So I've already decided that I was going to remove it beforehand in order to save a little bit of time because it can take up to 5 minutes to get your tire off of your car if it's located underneath. In other cars, it can be located on the rear hatch door, in the trunk, and also behind the seat if there's no other place to put it. Car manufacturers have plenty of different spots to put the tire. It just depends on what their preference is. The next thing to do is to check your spare tire for any damage. You want to check the tire to make sure that there's no cuts around the outer rim as well as in the tread, and to make sure that the valve stem is securely placed, because the valve stem is where you put your air into the tire. Once you get done checking your tire, you want to make sure that the air pressure is good. If you have an air pressure gauge, it says right on the tire which air pressure it should be, and on this tire it should be 60 psi, which is pressure per square inch. So if you have one of those, you just apply it, make sure the pressure is good. If you don't, there's also a old-fashioned way you can do it, and just press on the tire and make sure that it's not flat, or it's not really squishy, or so you can push it up and down. Once you have that done, the next step would be to then remove the tire from, you want to remove the defective tire from the vehicle. Now, we're going to start by removing this tire, which is broken. So now we're going to have to start removing the tire. The first thing you want to do is remove the lug nut cap holder, which is just to protect the lug nuts from rusting and corroding. So once you have this removed, it's a little bit harder, I had it pre-removed that way I didn't have to sit here and pry it off. But it's good to take a screwdriver and then just pop it off. It comes right off easily. And then you set that down to the side, making sure that you're not going to break it or damage it. And then the next thing you want to do is start removing the lug nuts, which are what hold the tire onto the car. You take your lug nut wrench. This thing right here has a specified, and that is the exact shape of the lug nut, so it fits right on and securely and won't strip your lug nuts or anything. And then once you have it applied to the car, you're either going to want to turn it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So we're going to turn it to the left and keep going to loosen the tire, and we're going to loosen them all up in order to take the tire off of the car. So my car has 5 lug nuts, so I'm going to remove all 5 lug nuts in order to take the tire off of the car. Some cars have 8 lug nuts, some cars have 4. It just depends on the specifications of the manufacturer. So once I get them all loosened, I am then going to just unscrew them off the rest of the way. Using that tool can be very time consuming, so make sure that you try to do it the most efficient way. And once you have them loose, it's very easy just to take them off. So this can take a few minutes since there's a lot of them and they twist many times. So we're going to remove all the lug nuts and make sure that nobody's going to hit you while you're taking off the lug nuts if you're on the side of the road in a situation. So I'll get these lug nuts off. Got 2 more lug nuts. Alright, now that I have the lug nuts off, the next step is to then remove the tire from the vehicle, the defective tire. Remove the defective tire from the vehicle. And it should just slip right off, nice and easy. And then you just want to put it to the side so later on you can put it back in your vehicle. And then once you have that tire off, you can just take your spare tire, roll it over, and just apply it to the car. Put it on the lug nuts. Make sure it's on there all the way. And then for the fun part of putting the lug nuts back on. Now we're going to push the lug nuts back on once again. Put it all back on. Once you have them on, we're just going to make sure they're tightened and secured because we don't want the tire falling off of the car. It's also a good idea to make sure that the lug nuts are put on the correct way because these bolts have like threads on them. So when you put the bolts on and you don't have the lug nut on and then you tighten it, you can actually strip the bolts. And then that requires a lot more parts and a lot more labor, which can in the long run cost you a lot more money. So it's very important to make sure that these lug nuts are going on smoothly and easily, because if they're going on hard, that usually means something's binding, which can really affect your vehicle in the end because you might have to get it worked on by a professional mechanic more than what you already do with your flat tire. So once we have all the lug nuts twisted on, we're going to pick up our lug wrench again and just tighten them, and this time we're going to turn it to the right in order to tighten the bolts onto the car. So once we have it, so then what you're going to do now is, while you're tightening, just get it as tight as possible at first. At this time, you do not need to tighten it as all the way. Just make sure that it's good and tight. And then now, a good way to put your tire on your car is just a helpful hint. Instead of just going in a circle, is to go diagonally across. By going diagonally across, you're evenly distributing all the tightness through your car. You're not just you're not tightening one side more than the other, which can cause off balance and more vibrations and things like that to your car, which can really affect your driving and your tire your tire tread, because what you're doing is you're gonna affect the tire tread and wear off one side more than the other. So once you have all your lug nuts tightened, the pattern actually ends up being a star. So once you have the star pattern done, you just want to go back through the lug nuts one more time and make sure that they're tight enough through your hand movement. They don't need to be as tight as possible. That can actually bend things, bend the metal, bend the lug nuts, bend things in there. So just go through and tighten them as much as possible through your hand movements to make sure that everything's nice and secure and not gonna fall off on the way back to your house or to your destination to get your tire fixed. So once you have them all tightened, the next thing to do is to basically make sure that the tire is still secured. Just kind of touch it, make sure that's on there good. Once again, check the tire pressure, and then lower the jack down. So we'll lower the jack down on the ground. And then the next step is once you have it all lowered down, is to put everything away and clean up. So make sure you don't leave anything behind. Put everything back inside your car. Put your old tire away that went flat, and basically just clean up. It's very important to clean up because you don't want to leave anything behind that can either damage the environment, damage other cars, or even get a litter ticket, because leaving stuff on the side of the road is considered litter, and it can damage things, like I said, the environment and other cars. You don't want to give anybody else a flat tire. You don't want to hurt any other animals that might eat anything that you leave behind. So it's very important to clean up, make sure you're taking everything with you, and disposing of everything properly. Once you have everything good, you're good to go. You can take your spare tire and your flat tire to the automotive dealership, move on to your house. It's also permitted that you should not use spare tires on the highway. Highway use of tires can explode them, blow them up, and damage your car even more. So make sure that you go straight to where you need to go. Don't go driving around town and doing all your errands, because that can really be dangerous to you and other people. So now you have a spare tire fixed, you're good to go. You can move on with your day, get your tire fixed, and that's about it. Thank you for listening to my speech, and have a great day. Hopefully this advice will help you in the near future.